What inspires, excites, and drives today's man? I'm Cris Collinsworth. The answers inside the vault. Today, men's gadget obsessions unlocked. What we can't live without and why we have to get it first.
You sit down at a restaurant and you put your guns on the table, now you put your phones on the table and you kind of compare them.
Actress and host Jill Wagner and comedian Alonzo Bodden join me and top experts from The New Yorker, Wired, and Motor Trend to explore our inner gadget geeks. We're going coast to coast. What are you packing? And what's your worst gadget gaffe?
I actually text the person I was actually with instead of the person I was supposed to text.
Whose is bigger? Does size matter in the gadget game?
One big streaming media mess.
To spy or not to spy?
I think if you feel like you have to go through someone's phone, you should probably break up with them.
How video games rewire our brains. Training soldiers, doctors, and race car drivers. And the driving game they're calling the real deal. An international race champ puts it to the test. Plus, iPad, you pad, we all pad.
You know why I love my iPad? Because it's the idiot computer. Like, cow, moo.
Hey, I'm Cris Collinsworth with Jill Wagner and Alonzo Bodden, and you're inside the vault with us. We're talking about the obsession with gadgets and technology today, and Wired Magazine's Jason Tanz and Nick Thompson from The New Yorker are here to join us. And guys, you're the experts. You tell me, why are we all so addicted to these gadgets? We go into meetings and nobody's looking at each other.
They're what connect us to the outside world. They're the way we connect with our family. They're the way we connect with our friends. They're the way we keep our calendars, the way we read our news. They do everything for us, and they make our lives vastly easier, except for when they don't.
Do you think it has anything to do with status with guys?
The
more gadgets,
Yeah, you used to, like, you'd sit down at a restaurant and you put your guns on the table, now you put your phones on the table and you kind of compare them. There's a little bit of that. I think not quite as much as some people think. I mean, you have the new iPhone, right when the iPhone comes out, there's a certain group of people that think that's very cool.
The way the brain works, you get feedback, right? So if you get positive feedback, you'll do it again. If you get negative feedback, you won't do it again. You never know what you're going to get.
You get hope.
You get hope,
right?
Hope
for positive
exactly.
feedback.
So with the gadgets, like with email, for instance, like the next email could change your life, right? So, you know, you're always going back to check to see.
I've gotten that email. It said that I won $10 million in Britain. I didn't know.
Congratulations.
Well, before we go any further, Alonzo went out to investigate the relationship between guys and their gadgets.
What gadget's in your pocket right now?
iPhone.
Let's see it.
Fortunately, my iPhone, I'd have to say.
Well, I have a BlackBerry in this pocket for work and a Droid in this pocket for personal use.
And as you can hear, it's probably ringing right now.
Go ahead, you can answer it.
Hey, I'm gonna call you right back, please.
I resisted cell phones until just a few years ago, and then my employer said, listen, you gotta have one, so I went out and got one. And then after that, they got me a work cell phone, so I'd already given everybody all my personal numbers, so now I've got 2 cell phones, and I'm the guy who hates cell phones.
Do you need it? Do you carry it all the time? You're lost without it?
Right now, if I have a dull moment, I'm always on Facebook or email and everything.
I cannot live without my BlackBerry or my iPad. It's just something I can't live without.
My wife tells me that I'm addicted. I'm in denial, but she definitely tells me I'm addicted to my gadgets.
I can't leave my house without my iPhone.
I've been with my daughter many times at dinner where she says, Dad, who's the teenager now?
Check it all the time. It's for work and for home. So yeah, I guess I am addicted. That's sad.
I feel like you can kind of get to know somebody through texting at first.
It's more disconnected even though you're connected.
I don't know anybody's phone number anymore, so if I did get, sent to jail or something, I would have no idea who to call.
That is a really good point right there. I never thought about that one before. I call my kids or text them every day. I'm not sure. Matter of fact, I'm sure I could not spit out their telephone numbers collectively because it's so easy. You just go 1 or 2.
Well, I'm just happy my mom has kept the same phone number for 50 years, so I know it. And I had to get my mom, it was reverse technology, the big, simple cell phone.
I mean, that's actually, there's a trend in the development of gadgets, and there are a lot of people who try to make devices that only do one thing or that only do a small number of things. The best example is the flip camera. It just does little videos. It's this wonderful device, and it's incredibly easy to use, and it's sold mammothly because it's so simple and because you don't get distracted by all of the other features.
But don't you get a little bit of a feeling of whoever it is that you're texting is more important than the person who's sitting there at the table with you? And it's almost like, hey, wait a minute, hold on. I have something really important to do while you sit and wait for me.
Right, right. Yeah, absolutely. And it takes real effort. I mean, these gadgets are now everywhere. They're in every pocket. And it takes a real concerted effort to just not want to pick them up.
All right, let's talk for a minute now. Obviously, there are a million positive things here, and we all understand that part of it. But there are also guys who get busted with these things. And because if you put something in an email, you put something in a text, you may think you're erasing it, but there's really a way to go get that.
Well, absolutely. And lots of people, but is that a bad thing? I mean, people who are doing bad things get caught?
Yes.
I mean, that's
Yes.
sounds like a good thing to me.
Stop him now. Yes, it's a bad
It's
thing.
a deterrent. I mean, really, how many things do you think out there guys have not done because there's cell phone cameras, you know, there's videotape? How many celebrities have been busted by something as simple as somebody clicking on a recorder on their phone?
All
I mean,
the athletes.
it's dangerous out there right now.
Well, it's irritating to be a celebrity. I don't really quite understand. I don't know that because I'm not. But obviously, people coming and taking pictures all the time. The other side to that is that there are a lot of crimes that have been solved because people have been there and they filmed it. There's a lot of sort of firsthand evidence that people get from their cell phone cameras.
But whether it's your wife or whether it's Google, you know, someone knows everything that you're doing. So, you know, you should just behave accordingly.
Have you ever busted a boyfriend or a date or anything?
You know what? No, here's the thing is I have a lot of girlfriends that go through their boyfriends' computers. I think that's totally wrong. I don't date people that I can't trust. And I think if you feel like you have to go through someone's phone, you should probably break up with them.
It's much the flip side of that is much easier too. I just assume my wife is going to read everything that I have.
I see it as a creativity tool because there might be a time you send a wrong text to the wrong person, and now you have to create a story as to why I sent you this text, even though that wasn't your name. And I've been very creative in those situations. It's sort of a gift. It's sort of a mental challenge for me to explain why I texted you that in the middle of the day when it was supposed to go to her in the middle of the night. You learn to dance in this business, Chris.
But the good news is you can lose a girlfriend and add something to your act. So it all works out. There's a positive to that thing.
It's material for you.
But you know, there are people who live their entire life through a 3-inch screen.
That's probably the biggest problem with gadgets. In a way, they bring you closer. They allow you to call people without knowing their phone numbers, but they also make you more distant.
You know, we're starting to see over the last few years, right, these sort of micro celebrities crop up, right? It used to be if you wanted people to know who you were, you had to be on TV.
All right, how do you get them off? That's the question I want to know. How do you
It's also interesting. It's kind
a life well lived sometimes can live on the internet as well.
That's
here,
right,
you know?
that's right.
All right, you've got to tell us what's the future. Where are we going? What's next?
If you have an iPad and an Apple TV, you can start watching stuff that's on your iPad and then move it onto your TV. And I think we're going to start seeing a lot of those that sort of convergence of all these different devices into sort of one big streaming media mess.
And eventually all of these devices will be wired, and then there'll be this sort of software network which provides add-ons to it, and that will be, you know, it's coming.
Can I go the other way, Chris? Because obviously, you two are geniuses. You two are experts. You know why I love my iPad? Because it's the idiot computer. There's a picture, you hit it, and it happens. It's like being in nursery school again, like cow, moo. I'm buying one. I'm buying.
Bottom line, if you don't remember anything else, remember cow, moo. That's all really. What else do you need to know?
The future of computing.
Next on Inside the Vault, why grown men are still playing video games. And the hottest new one, the showdown on our set. Coming up on Inside the Vault, the ultimate guys getaway, the buddy trip.
What happens on a buddy trip? I've always wanted to know.
Well, you're not invited. The secret destination where you'll need ski and fishing poles.
You're talking about pulling 50-pound salmon out of a river.
And Bon Appetit's Andrew Knowlton on the ultimate food trip, butchering a pig in Brooklyn.
You're totally probably not going to cut your hand.
Plus PCH and a Cadillac CTS. On the next Inside the Vault.